we are going to get into some climate change news. But first, I wanted to read another edition of McCorkles Corner. Marty McCorkle has been lighting up the comment section. He's got a couple I want to read. I don't think I have time to read them all, but I'll start with one from a day or two ago. Marty McCorkle says, "Move over, Tesla. Here comes the genius. I mean me, the genius. Stop laughing. You'll see. Because here is the mind-blowing idea. A renewable zero-emissions car that works on the same principle of emissions hiding that solar panels and wind turbine operate by. You know how renewable energy never counts the carbon emissions that are necessary for the production, maintenance, and backup of the renewable energy devices. That's emissions hiding, and it's so stupid that it works. Renewable energy devices emit many tons of fossil fuel emissions to manufacture and maintain. But promoters of green energy never pay the slightest attention to those hidden emissions. That's emissions hiding, a principle that allows us to pretend to be helping by establishing more solar panels and windmills that require carbon emissions. Sure, they are called renewables and classed as zero carbon emissions. It does not make sense and is a bit stupid, which suits a society out of options and is like a drowning man clutching at a passing fish. So shut up and hop on the green, not really green wagon using emissions hiding. Circle around, kids. I created a zero emissions car that is a 1970s Buick. Its engine removed. And here's the stroke of genius. The car is towed by a tow truck, making the towed car a zero emissions vehicle. Ta-da! Just as much as solar panels are zero emissions. And wind turbines are zero emissions. My green car is also using zero emissions. Do the math. Go ahead. I'll wait. Back so soon? If your math matches mine, you cannot deny a towed car as a zero emissions car. How did I come up with this genius move? By using the emissions hiding principle, which hides the tow truck, just as emissions hiding principle hides the manufacturing and maintenance, carbon emissions. For solar panels and wind turbines, the hiding emissions principle means that you hide the carbon emissions and they simply don't count for reasons likely having to do with making tons of money. You're welcome, humanity. What? You don't think the math works? Then you anti-green monster who is against zero emissions technology, and I'll get George Monbiot to call you a racist. George will do it if I ask. I bought him a soda. All right. To make you happy, we will replace the tow bar between the tow truck and the zero emissions car with a much longer, say a 20-foot long tow bar. That way emissions hiding is assured, like the way solar panels and wind turbines are manufactured using fossil fuels far away, often in China, in accordance with good emissions hiding standards. And renewables are backed up by fossil fuel power plants, which are never right next to those wonderful renewable energy units. That would ruin the hiding in the hiding emissions principle. Silly. Use your melon. Those nice greenwash promotional videos of wind turbine and cows beneath it won't work with its necessary coal backup plant parked right next to this pretty vignette. Bilging black smoke and standby, since coal plants burn coal while not producing energy. Know why? Because coal plants take days to start back up, and intermittent renewables stop much faster than that. So, you put back up a power plant far away, increasing emissions hiding to pass strict levels of public energy ignorance. People are energy stupid, so they'll buy anything called green energy. That's flat fact. People are 99.99% energy ignorant, and let's keep the suckers that way. Emissions hiding is the backbone of renewable energy today, so shut the F up and hop on the green, not green at all wagon because it's taking you for a ride. Oh, and don't even try to patent my zero emissions car. The patent office emailed me twice. First to get me to explain the cocktail napkin picture of my towed zero emissions my zero emissions towed car I drew for them. Then they sent me a second email telling me to get a real job. Ho ho he, very funny. Candace Myers at the patent office. But the last laugh is on the whole U.S. patent office because they Once they grasp the emissions hiding principle, they sure will look silly, eh? Everyone is fully on board the emissions hiding principle, except Candace at the patent office. Good luck catching up with the emissions hiders, Candace. Ha ha ha. I'm already running up my credit cards against my towed zero emissions car. I'm already as rich in my own mind as renewable energy proponents are green in their minds. Ignorance is called green for a reason. So if you see a car being towed, it's probably me saving the world in exactly the way solar panels and wind turbines save the world. Yes, you got it, by hiding the emissions. Good luck, everyone, in your face. Candace at the patent office, big old denier of emissions hiding principle. Hope you all enjoyed that. Did you? Did you? I did. Always enjoy Marty McCorkle at McCorkles Corner. Your Environment Seattle says, "Hey Kevin and Bears, I will have that conversation with you about Pizzagate if I can share one of my own conspiracy stories." Well, let's that's fine. Let's do it. Let's not do it right this second. I'm down, but let's do it maybe. Yeah, but let's have a chat about that first. Okay. Let's see. Moving on. Lightning Rod, I thought that particular rant was pointless. I just like McCorkle's, they're like funny kind of stories about how people feel about climate change. I don't know, whatever. Not everybody has to like it, okay? It's totally fine if you don't like it. It's fine. Hold on. Where am I? Well, where I am in let's see. We're doing climate change. We're in climate change news. Europe swelters under a heat wave complicated by COVID-19 restrictions. This is from 2 days ago. This weekend saw very warm weather in Europe. Sun seekers flocked to beaches over the weekend. This says it's from 2 days ago, but I think it's updated now. But anyways, they flocked to beaches over the weekend as parts of Western Europe sweltered in a heat wave, but authorities urged people to avoid crowded areas and keep wearing masks despite the heat, over concern for the rising numbers of coronavirus cases across the continent. Rising numbers, you say. A day after Britain recorded its hottest August day in 17 years at 36.4 Celsius, 97.5 Fahrenheit, much of its southern coastline was packed with visitors, many of whom had been forced to abandon more exciting foreign holidays because of COVID-19 travel restrictions. Authorities in Bournemouth, home to a 7-mile golden stretch of beach, warned that most of the beach was so busy that safe social distancing was not possible. This is kind of what I was talking about yesterday. People out just like, well, we're just going to be doing summer things now. There was a similar story across other parts of Europe, where many residents endured weeks of lockdown earlier this year. Crowds of Germans also headed for the coast on Saturday, but local authorities warned residents that some beaches and lakes would be closed if there were too many people. Police in the capital, Berlin, told residents to avoid popular lake Muggelsee. I don't know how to pronounce it. Muggelsee. While the beach at Prenzlau Lake in Brandenburg, just mashing everything. State was turning people away. First time I've experienced that in 30 years, said the manager of the Prenzlau site, Ronnie Klein. France has also been sweltering through a heat wave since Thursday, with temperatures pushing towards 40 C, 104 in several areas. That is hot in the southwest Brive-le-Gaillard broke its own record with temperatures at 40.8 C on Friday, as did Cognac with 39.8 C, while Nantes posted a new all-time record of 39.6 C. No relief is expected until Wednesday, with the soaring temperatures compounding the pressure as the country's coronavirus outbreak worsens, the number of daily infections hitting 2,288 on Friday. Authorities reminded sweltering citizens that masks must continue to be worn where they have been mandated despite the heat, with a new mask rule for crowded areas, even outdoors, set to come into effect in Paris on Monday. Last year was France's hottest on record. Wow. And it just keeps getting hotter, yes? So that is happening. Kuro Hikes, they're always trying to sell ugly shoes to Kevin. Yeah, you guys can see all the the beautiful advertisements on all the pages I'm reading. Let's see. You keep trying to scroll the video? Poppy Davis, yes. I do that too sometimes when I'm watching videos. Let's move on. Another story out of Siberia. Siberia's gateway to the underworld. That sounds frightening. Grows as record heat wave thaws permafrost. This is from July 28th, a week or two ago. On a spring day in 2019, Alexander Kizyakov rappelled down the 60-meter head wall of the Batagay mega slump in eastern Siberia, pausing to chisel out chunks of ice-rich soil that had been frozen for eons. One of my hobbies is rock climbing, says Kizyakov, a permafrost scientist at Lomonosov Moscow State University. Colleagues below sampled the most ancient soil along the base of the cliff. Such work is too dangerous in summertime, when the constant crackling of melting ice is punctuated by groans as slabs of permafrost, some as big as cars, shear off the head wall. Known to locals as the gateway to the underworld, Batagay is the largest thaw slump on the planet. Once just a gully on a slope logged in the 1960s. The scar has expanded year by year as the permafrost thaws and meltwater carries off the sediment. Now more than 900 meters wide, it epitomizes the vulnerability of permafrost in the Arctic, where temperatures have shot up twice as fast as the global average over the past 30 years. But it's also a time capsule that is seducing scientists with its snapshots of ancient climates and ecosystems. It's a mind-blowing place, says Tomas Opel, a paleoclimatologist at the Alfred Wegener Institute. Dates from ice and soil gathered at Batagay show it holds the oldest exposed permafrost in Eurasia. Spanning the past 650,000 years, Opel and colleagues reported in May at the European Geosciences Union's online General Assembly. That record could reveal how permafrost and surface vegetation responded to past warm climes. It gives us a window into times when permafrost was stable and at times it was eroding. Opel says global warming is inflicting wounds across Siberia. Outbursts of pent-up methane gas and thawing permafrost have pocked Russia's desolate Yamal and Gidan peninsulas with holes tens of meters across. Apartment buildings are listing and collapsing on the unsteady ground, causing about $2 billion of damage per year to the Russian economy. Hold on a second. Anyways, I'll get that in a moment. Intensifying this year's fires was a heat wave that baked Siberia, etc. We already know about that. An abiding question is how much carbon the thawing soil will release to the atmosphere. and whether the lusher growth of Arctic plants in the warming climate will absorb enough carbon to offset the release. Maybe there's an upside to this. I kind of doubt it. The Arctic may already have reached a tipping point. Based on observations at 100 field sites, northern permafrost released on average about 600 million tons more carbon than vegetation absorbed each year from 2003 to 2017. Well, there's your answer. Scientists estimated in October 2019. Scientists are venturing to Pasadena in annual campaigns to learn what it can say on the matter. Visits organized by the Institute of Applied Ecology of the North in Yakutsk are not for the faint of heart. In 2014, Ksenia Ashastina slogged through 3 kilometers of mosquito-infested forest to reach the head wall's edge. You hear a lot of cracking noises as you get closer. Ooh. And all of a sudden, there are no trees, and you're standing on an overhang. They say it's eating... Well, hold on. Ashatina, a paleobotanist at the Max Planck Institute for the Science of Human History. She and colleagues from the Senckenberg Research Institute and Natural History Museum lodged with indigenous Siberians, Evans and Saka, some of whom fear the mega slump. They say it's eating their land, swallowing up trees and their sacred places. The permafrost also holds glimpses of ancient Arctic ecosystems, sampling trapped plant remains. The team learned that during the last ice age, when winter temperatures plunged even lower than in modern times, the vegetation was surprisingly lush, supporting woolly mammoths, woolly rhinos, and other now vanished herbivores in the meadow steppe ecosystem. It was a paradise for foraging animals, Ashastina said. As the elements carve up more of the Pasadena mega slump, it could return scientists deeper into time. As much as climate watchers may cringe at the thought, the most ancient permafrost ever dated from Canada's Yukon Territory is 740,000 years old. As much as climate watchers may cringe at the thought, several more roasting Siberian summers could push the Pasadena mega slump to claim another record. Okay. Good luck, Sandy. Sandy says on our way to the hospital for a test for Doug. Good luck and Godspeed, Sandy. Hope everything is okay, or I'm hoping for a quick recovery. Let's move on. This is something from last year. Europe's renewable energy policy is built on burning American trees. I may have even read this last year, but this is only a year old, so still in play. Biomass energy is inadvertently making the climate crisis worse. In the lowland forests of the American Southeast, loblolly pines and cypress trees are grabbing carbon dioxide from the air right now. Using power from the sun, they release the oxygen and bind the carbon, building trunks, barks, and leaves. Much of that carbon won't stay there, though. As it turns out, millions of tons of wood from these forests each year are being shipped across the Atlantic and burned in power plants in countries like the UK and the Netherlands. In the name of slowing climate change, as they steadily wean themselves off coal, European Union nations are banking on wood, energy, or biomass to meet their obligations under the Paris Climate Agreement. That's because in 2009, the EU committed itself to 20% renewable energy by 2020 and put biomass on the renewables list. Several countries, this was exposed, of course, by Planet of the Humans just a little while ago. Several countries like the UK subsidized the biomass industry, creating a sudden market for wood Not good enough for the timber industry. In the United States, Canada, and Eastern Europe, crooked trees, bark, tree tops, and sawdust have been pulped, pressed into pellets, and heat dried in kilns. By 2014, biomass accounted for 40% of the EU's renewable energy. Well, that's not that long ago. Well, it sounds like really old technology. Well, it's not that long ago. If it was 40% 6 years ago, has it changed much now? By far the largest source. By 2020, that's right now, it's projected to make up to 60%. So it is climbing. That's climbing. And the U.S. plans to follow suit. So this is not old news. This is new news. This is happening right now. Fueling this boom is a simple, intuitive idea that biomass is both renewable and carbon neutral in a way to keep an economy built on burning fossil fuels humming along. It actually doesn't make any sense. But a cadre of scientists and policy activists are now pushing back, saying that biomass energy rests on deceptive accounting. Can we say emissions hiding? Per Marty McCorkle. Rather than being carbon neutral, biomass is liquidating millions of tons of irreplaceable carbon stocks in the midst of a climate crisis already out of control. And there you go. Cut down the trees, burn the trees, release the CO2. It's really quite simple. Burning carbon, you guys want to look at that a little bit? I don't know. If you can see that, I'm sure you can. Look at all the carbon involved in this whole process. Because it's making stuff and doing stuff and cutting down things and burning things and selling things and burning things. Burning carbon to store carbon. There are a few bigger players in the biomass industry than Drax Group, whose flagship power plant in the north of England sucks up nearly a quarter of global wood pellet production, about 2/3 of it from the U.S. The UK has bought into its biomass, big into biomass, and Drax powers 10% of the British electric grid in large part thanks to massive government subsidies, about $1.2 billion a year. That's crazy. I'm sorry. Hold on one second. Didn't mean to do that. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. Burning wood in its former coal plants, said Drax CEO Andy Koss, means 80% savings in carbon dioxide when compared to coal. And in 25 to 30 years' time, we're delivering carbon savings. Okay. The carbon neutrality argument of Drax and others in the wood pellet industry rests on a couple of ideas. First, that the carbon burned in the pellets can be brought back to earth in the form of new trees. Holy Nikes, this is dumb. But we already know this, right? Second, that the wood burned is industry waste that would be lost to the air anyway. The American lumber industry still does a lot of clear cutting, said Seth Ginther of the U.S. Industrial Pellet Association, an industry group focused on the international trade, and the pellet market provides a market for wood that would be cut anyway, but would otherwise just be left in a field to slowly evaporate, to be burned for waste. Okay. There was no universe, he said, in which any sensible landowner was just going to leave a valuable resource like a forest standing, not earning money. Oh my God. How dare you leave a forest standing, not earning money? But this way, Ginther said, landowners allow power plants like Drax to replace coal with a fuel source that once used can be regrown. Okay. Yeah, let's just cut down all the forests, guys, because we can all regrow it. It'll be fine. Okay, I'm not going to read any more of this because we already know how absolutely brain dead this whole idea is. Guys, it's fine to burn up trees and wood because we can regrow those forests. It's fine if we cut down the Amazon. We can regrow it. It's totally fine. John Ziggy Kelleher asks where I'm at. I'm in Los Angeles, the Los Angeles area, greater Los Angeles area. Yeah. I'm in the bear den. Yes, Kuro. I'm in my secret lair. Yes, Andy the Gardener. Dead wood is a valuable wildlife habitat. It's not fuel, right? Biochar, grow back better. Guy Smith, yes. Grow back better. I like that. Build back better. Whatever that means, build back better. That's a terrible... Somebody got paid a lot of money to think that up. Water evaporates, not wood. I know, wood evaporating? Okay. Yeah, I know, Vintage Violet. I feel better too. Let's move on. I didn't really need to read any more of that. I really didn't want to. But you guys get the idea. This actually just this is... Again, I'm going to piss people off who are real, like, outdoorsy types. Because some outdoorsy types are really into, like, killing things. And, at one time in history, it may have made sense. It might have been real earthy or real, connected to nature. It may have been necessary for people to go out and hunt their own food. And in the future, it may be necessary again. But, however, it's really not necessary now, especially for sport. It's just so, it's disgusting. And I have to say, like, please, do not go hunting for animals. Do not go sport fishing or sport hunting. Do not go on do not do ecotourism. Do not go on cruises, ecotourism cruises. Please, impact the environment as little as possible. Even if you're a camper or a hiker or, just try and keep it as local as possible and keep it down to a bare minimum. And for God's sake, don't go to like the Galapagos or the Arctic or please. Yeah, I know you really need to go see it with your own eyes. No, you don't. There are pictures. There are pictures. You sit your butt at home. I'm sure there are local places where you can explore nature or wherever. Blue marlin remains a sport fishing dream, but for how much longer? This is from today. Out of The Guardian, the majestic fish inspired Ernest Hemingway, but his numbers falter. Alternatives to landing the ocean giants are finding favor. Yeah. I just, it really pains me to see people out there like, hey, we got a big one. Leave the fish alone. Leave the oceans alone, goddammit. As a child, I strolled the docks during the Big Rock tournament in Morehead City, North Carolina. Fishermen strung marlins up by their tails, bills down, the marlins flashing silver bodies drained to a dull blue-gray. Awestruck people posed for the photos with the dead fish as they do today. To reel one in, according to Dr. Ellen Peel, executive director of the Bill Fish Foundation, is almost like ballet. It takes a lot of orchestration and choreography. I'm sure it's really beautiful. Haha. Everyone has lost their job. Everyone has their job. That was a Freudian. I want them to lose their jobs. Sorry. It's a fascinating team sport to watch. A blue marlin fishing tournament is a spectacle to behold and potentially a windfall. Oh, God, please don't support this on any level, please. This year, Michael Jordan and his crew on his $8 million 80-foot convertible Viking sport fishing yacht, Catch 23, barf, brought in a 442.3-pound marlin, good enough for 5th place in the Big Rock tournament, which paid out over $3.3 million in prize money in 2020. God dang it. I'm just disgusted on so many levels. Male marlins generally stop growing at 250 to 300 pounds, so sport fishing tournaments usually bring in large female fish. The bigger they are, the more eggs they're going to produce, said scientist Dr. John Graves. Focusing on biggest females is probably not the best thing to do for the future of the species. Do you think so? I'm having difficulty reading this. I'm just pointing out, just a shout out to anybody who thinks this is cool. This is disgusting. Please don't do this. Please stop immediately. Atlantic blue marlin, who are highly migratory and aggressive predators, are one of the largest species of bony fishes. Beginning at microscopic larvae and reaching lengths of more than 16 feet, revered by Ernest Hemingway, who chased the fish for decades from outposts in Cuba and Key West, Florida. The blue marlin's legendary spirit was immortalized in The Old Man in the Sea. Atlantic blue marlin are considered an iconic trophy fish, but are listed as vulnerable to extinction. Why? Why are they being fished? This is insane. I asked Graves why people continue to sport fish a vulnerable species. Blue marlin fishing is like watching paint dry for most of the day, but when it happens, it's very exciting, he tells me. White marlin and sailfish don't come in with the same attitude. When a blue marlin comes in and crashes the bait, there's a hole in the water. They're so aggressive. They go ballistic. Oh, my God. Lots of jumps, lots of greyhounding. They put on an awful lot of energy in doing it. Oh, my God. So you like seeing these animals struggle. What a fucking psychopath you are. What a pathetic person you are. Anyways, I'm not going to read any more of this because it's also disgusting. Toxic masculinity, indeed. It's disgusting. This is a disgusting sport. Please, if you're doing this, if you know anybody who does this, please let them know how lame this is, how totally stupid and lame this is, and just not necessary on any level. Really, your enjoyment, your sport is not necessary. The suffering of animals is not necessary for sport. Please, 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 please. Hey guys, remember to like, share, and subscribe, and you can support the channel. The links below, PayPal, Patreon, Square. Also, if you'd like to watch the live streams, you can watch the live streams on my Patreon channel. You can subscribe for as little as $1. So hopefully I will see you over there, and thanks so much.